Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Astutia Lawia from class 336A07. Today, I will present my project to final exam a sociolinguistics subject. In this video, there are two parts. In part 1, I will explain about two topics, and in part 2, there are 7 case study that I will solve. Let's move to part 1. I will explain about style, context, and register. Definition of style. According to Holmes 20 and 13, a language variation that changes according to the social situation. Speakers adjust their language based on audience, setting, and purpose of communication. Next is definition of context. According to Holmes 20 and 13, the social situation where communication takes place includes participants, setting, purpose, topic, and relationship, which influence language choice. The last definition is definition of register. According to Holiday, 1987, register is a language variety used in a specific situation or context. Different situations require different vocabulary, expression, and grammar. In this slide, there are characteristics of style according to Holmes. Number 1 is identity, reflects the speaker's social identity. Number 2 is audience. Language changes depending on the listener. And the third is formality, varies according to the situation. And number 4 is accommodation. Speaker adapt their language to their audience. Characteristics of context. According to Holmes, there are 5 characteristics of context. Number 1 is participant, who is communicating. Number 2 is setting, where and when communication occurs. Number 3 is purpose, why communication takes place. And number 4 is topic, what is being discussed. And the last is relationship, the social relationship between participants. This is the characteristics of register. According to Holiday, there are 3 characteristics. Number 1 is field, what is happening or being discussed. And the second one is tenor, the relationship between participants. And the last is mode, the channel of communication, spoken or written. Next slide is significance in sociolinguistics. The first is explain how language varies across different social situations. The second one is show how people adapt language to the audience and context. The third is helps analyze communication in education, workplace, healthcare, media, and daily life. And the last is demonstrates the relationship between language and society. I have 2 examples in this section. The first examples is from caption on Instagram, and the second one is also caption from Instagram. Example 1 is advertisement of Charles Kate Official. And the caption is make a striking statement in Stripe wherever you go. The sociolinguistic phenomenon is register. This is the table analysis of the caption. The first is field. That's mean fashion, retail, promotion. The second one is tenor. That's mean brand to consumer, aspirational or authoritative. And the last is mode. That's mean written, public-facing social media. Linguistic features. Imperative mood. The sentence of make a striking statement is typical of advertising register, brand position itself as style authority. And the next is elevated diction. The sentence of striking statement wherever you go is persuasive marketing vocabulary. And the last is no slang or emoji, Polish formal tone signals, institutional or commercial register. The second example is an Instagram post by Zafira, an influencer. This post was selected as one of the research data because it contains language relevant to the focus of the study. On the Instagram, Zafira wrote is Golden Week highlights. The sociolinguistic phenomenon is style and context. Linguistic features. The first one is surplus noun phrase. The sentence of Golden Week highlights compressed syntax, typical of a personal post, signals informality. The second one is emoji, substitutes verbal description, hallmark of informal digital communication. And the last is no elaboration. Writer assumes shared context with followers reflecting audience design. How the phenomenon appears. Informal personal style shaped by social context. The first one is setting, personal social media. The second one is audience, friends, followers. And the third is relationship, informal or peer. The result is a minimal, emoji-driven caption, a stark contrast to the brand account on the same platform. Why these examples represent the topic? The first one is Charles Kate Official, register. The first is field, commerce, tenor, brand to consumer, mode, written, public digital. The second one is imperative mood, positions brand as a style authority. The third is the sentence of striking statement is persuasive marketing lexicon. And next is no emoji or slang, preserve formal institutional register. And last is language constructs prestige and aspiration, selling an identity, not just a product. The next example is Zafira style and context. Number one is style shift based on audience, setting, and social relationship. Number two is fretless noun phrase, compressed syntax, signals informality. Number three is assumes shared context with followers, audience design. Number four is emoji, substitutes verbal description, marker of peer communication. And the last is brevity signals solidarity and intimacy, individual sharing a moment. Theory in action. Register to first example. And number one is field. Fashion retail promotion. Drive use of persuasive product focused vocabulary with statements, striking statement, and strips. And the next is tenor. Brand to consumer. Unequal, professional, motivates imperative mood with sentence make and positioning brand as authority. And last is mode, written public digital text, demands clarity and polish, explain absence of emoji, slang, or fragmented syntax. This is the second theory in action, style and context. To the second example. The first is audience, personal followers, friends, or peer informal, drives minimal fragment, best caption with no elaboration. And the second one is setting. Personal social media account permits and even encourages informality. And the third is relationship, close, peer motivates, emoji, a solidarity markup, replacing formal verbal description. And last is purpose, sharing a personal experience, explain complex syntax, image carry content, caption merely frames it. This is the theoretical support according to Angraini and Octaviani 20 and 22. Findings: fashion brand captions consistently use formal register markers, imperative construction, elevated vocabulary, and minimal emoji. And relevance directly supports a Charles Kate official analysis, mirrors holidays field tenor variables, in digital commercial context. This is the second theoretical support according to Haryanti and Nugroho 2021 findings. Commercial accounts strategically select register features to construct brand identity and influence consumer behavior, and relevance is extends holiday at strategic intentional dimension register as a social positioning, not just functional response. And this is the theoretical support to Zafira's content. According to Andrew Tsopoulos 2014 findings, users orient language toward primary audience, close friends, producing informal complex language despite public visibility. Context collapse and relevance is supports and depends homes. Explain why Zafira defaults to intimate style even on a public platform. This is the second theoretical support according to Squares 2010 findings. Informal digital features, abbreviated syntax, emoji are unregistered markers of social identity, not errors, signals of group membership, and the relevance is extends homes digital style features carry stable social meaning. Action performs a reasonable digital identity comparison, similarities and differences of two examples. Similarities number one is both are digitally mediated on the same platform, Instagram. Number two is both practice audience design language calibrated for their intended audience. And number three is both construct identity through language, brand versus personal. And number four is both are economical with words, different reasons, impact versus assume shared context. And this is the differences of two examples. Aspect registers. Charles State is formal or promotional. Zafira is informal or personal. Syntax. Charles and Kate imperative sentence. Zafira is verbless fragment. And power. Charles and Kate is asymmetric and Zafira is symmetric pair. And purpose. Charles and Kate self-product and identity. Zafira shared personal experience. And theory. Charles and Kate Holiday 1978, Zafira Holmes 2013. This is the conclusion. The first is language constructs not just reflect social reality, but caption construct identities, enact power relation, and reproduce social values. Language is social action. The second one is classical frameworks remain relevant in the digital age. Holiday and Holmes developed before social media proved remarkably applicable to contemporary digital communication. And this is the references. Holmes, Holiday, Anggraini, Haryanti, and etc. The second topic is density and taxity. Definition of density and taxity. Density, according to Milroy, 1980, a dense network is one in which everyone knows everyone else. The proportion of actual links between individuals relative to the total number of possible links. And complexity, according to Milroy, 1980, a multiplex tie links people in more than one capacity. Example, neighbors, co-workers, and friends at once. The number of different role relationships that link to individuals together, also called multiplexity. This is the characteristics and key concept network density, high versus low. High density, most or all members know and interact with each other directly. Low density, few members know each other. Connection are sparse. Characteristics and key concept network plexity, multiplex and uniplex. Multiplex type, two people interact across multiple roles and settings at once. Uniplex type, two people interact in only one role or setting. Network strength predicts linguistic behavior, high density and high multiplexity, strong network, active norm, enforcement, vernacular dialect maintenance. Network strength predict linguistic behavior, low density and low multiplexity, weak network, norm enforcement absent, language change shift to standard. This is the example 1. Instagram post, low density uniplex, institutional media, animus mass audience, formal standard bahasa Indonesia, no slang or regional dialect, complete grammatically structured sentence, institutional or journalistic vocabulary. For example, diinisiasi, serangkaian, and the last is impersonal, third person, addressed to broad public, quick network, convergence toward standard language, density, low, followers do not know each other, no interconnection among audience, plexity, uniplex. The only relationship is individuation sender, news consumer, and network strength, low, no shared workplace, kinship, territory, or leisure ties. Example 1, beyond formality, power, ideology, and context. Power relations. As asymmetry of mass media power, CNN Indonesia speaks to undifferentiated public, not a community of equals. Readers have no space to respond in the same register. Context communication. Structurally one-to-many asynchronous non-reciprocal even though the platform allows comments. There is no expectation of sustained dialogue with any individual reader. Social values and ideologies. The post carries a standard language ideology, the assumption that prestige and credibility require standard bahasa Indonesia. This is an ideological choice, not a linguistic necessity. Why it matters? Standard language dominance in mass media can marginalize vernacular voices. Ironic when covering pencaksilat, a practice often discussed in local vernacular registers. And this is the journal support. Example 1, empirical backing for CNN Indonesian register. Support. Applying Holiday's register theory, this study showed institutional Instagram accounts systematically choose formal register type to communicative purpose, confirming that CNN Indonesia's low-density unified position predicts formal register. According to Marlina Stans, new outlets keep journalistic convention even on informal platform. Normalization. This adds institutional identity as a non-network force, reinforcing formality beyond Miller's type-based explanation alone, according to Haas. And this is the second example, TikTok post, Safiera Putri. High density multiplex, content creator, close, knit, follower, community, strong network maintenance of vernacular code mixing, density high, followers interact with each other via comments, duets, share references, textity, multiplex, creator is simultaneously friend figure, lifestyle model and cultural peer, network strength high, shared cultural territory, leisure context, and community identity. Example 2, beyond informality, identity, culture, and power. Identity construction. Kita positions the audience as a co-participants, not passive recipients, a strategic performance of multiplex identity, creator, public role, and friend, intimate role at once. Power relations. Kita creates closeness, but the relationship stays asymmetric. She is producer with reach. Followers consume created intimacy. Parasocial closeness, cultural implication, Indonesian, English, Korean flag layer, ethnic identity, global youth culture and cultural immersion, a performance of cosmopolitan diasporic identity, not simple multilingualism. Platform incentives, fluent code mixing also reflects socioeconomic access, education, mobility, and performs well algorithmically. Vernacular register is not purely organic. This is the journal support to the second example. Supports identifies intrasentential code switching as a documented pattern. Get unready with me, barangkali ya, matches this exact type motivated by trend and bilingualism, not random usage. Next is support and expands. Gen Z TikTok slang localized global trends via code mixing, functioning as solidarity and participation in viral culture, extending a Milroy's pre-digital framework with a concrete trend culture function. Comparative analysis similarities. Register is structure, not coincidental. Both maintain their respective register consistently. No inconsistent style mixing, showing both operate under norms recognized by their audience network. The second one is norm enforcement predicted by Milroy. Consistency is both tax is exactly what Milroy's norm enforcement mechanism predicts, whether the norm is formal or vernacular. The third is both are deliberate identity performance. Neither register is neutral expression. CNN Indonesia performs institutional seriousness. Safira Putri performs a personal closeness. Both use language strategically to reach a social goal. Next slide is comparative summary. Two networks and two registers. Aspect, new structure, CNN Indonesia, low density, uniplex. Safira Putri, high density, multiplex. Language register, CNN Indonesia, formal standard bahasa Indonesia. Safira Putri, informal, code mix in Indonesia and in English. Language function, informational or referential. Safira Putri, solidarity and relational. Audience address, CNN Indonesia, distance. For example, there is a sentence para pecinta, and for Safira Putri is inclusive, for example, kita. Linguistic outcome, CNN Indonesia, convergence to prestige standard, and Safira Putri maintenance of vernacular. Conclusion, language choice in digital space is not individual stylistic preference. It directly reflects the speaker's social network structure. And animals one too many contexts, CNN Indonesia drive convergence to formal standard language as institutional authority, a dense multiplex network. Safira Putri drives vernacular maintenance and code mixing as solidarity. Language on social media always perform ideological work. It is never neutral. The second one is how the theory explain it. Milroy's density and complexity directly predict both outcomes, and the network's strange scale shows tie strange not mere connection count determines direction. Yet the analysis also reveals a limitation in digital space. Density can be performative, constructed through language itself rather than purely structural dimension requiring theoretical extension beyond Milroy's original framework. And this is the references. We move to part 2, study case. Case study 1, the first question is what is gender exclusive speech? Gender exclusive speech is the use of language that represent only one gender, typically male, as the universal norm, while ignoring others. This is not merely a grammatical issue, but reflects deeper social construction about gender roles in society. And the second question is why the manager's language is gender exclusive. The manager consistently used the masculine pronoun his as a generic form for all employees, even though terms like every employee and a good programmer are gender neutral. This use of the generic masculine implicitly sets male as the professional default, treating women as exceptions. Number three, the question is social and linguistic effects. Socially, such language reinforces the stereotype that the tech industry is a male domain, making female employees feel unrecognized and reducing their sense of belonging. Linguistically, repeated use of masculine generics normalize male as the universal subject, actively reproduce a gender bias in professional discourse. Question number four is alternative language forms. Three inclusive alternative exist. One, using their. Every employee must submit their report. Two is plural form. Good programmers should improve their coding skills. And three is passive voice. Reports must be submitted before Friday. Number five is theoretical analysis. Sapir-Whorf hypothesis argues that language shapes social perception. Repeated use of his reinforces the perception that tech is male-dominated. Menegatti and Rubini, 2017, found that generic masculine creates cognitive male bias, causing listeners to mentally visualize male figures. Sternberg et al. Uh, 20, 2007 further showed that masculine generic language significantly reduced women's visibility in professional representation. Case study 2. The first question is what is linguistic density? Linguistic density refers to the amount of information packed into a unit of language, measured by the ratio of content words, noun, verb, adjective, adverbs, the total words. High density language contains a high concentration of information with little redundancy, commonly found in formal or academic registers, while low density language is more typical of casual spoken communication. The second question is how does density affect communication and comprehension? High density increases cognitive load, making it harder for listeners to process information, especially those unfamiliar with the topic. Low density is easier to follow but may lack precision. In educational settings, overly dense language can cause students to lose understanding. Effective communication requires calibrating density to match the audience expertise and context. And the third question is which lecturer uses higher linguistic density? Lecturer B uses a significantly higher density. First is lecturer A. Language is a system of communication. 6 words, 50% lexical density, simple structure. Lecturer B. Language functions as a dynamic symbolic system facilitating the transmission and negotiation of meaning across diverse socio-cultural contexts. 18 words, 67% lexical density, multiple layered concepts. Lecturer B packs symbolism, dynamism, socio-cultural context, and meaning negotiation into a single clause, making it cognitively demanding for students. Number 4 is advantages and disadvantages of dense language. Advantages efficiently convey complex and precise information. Signals expertise more information economical per word. Ideal for academic and professional contexts. Disadvantages: increases cognitive load, creates comprehension barriers for novice learners, may alienate audience and obscure meaning, especially in oral classroom setting. And the last question is theoretical analysis. Halliday's lexical density theory distinguishes spoken language grammatically complex but lexically sparse from written language lexically dense. Lecture B's sentence mirrors written academic prose despite being spoken, creating a register mismatch that reduces student comprehension. Lecture A's sentence better matches spoken register expectation. According to Crossley, Salisbury, and MC Namara, show that a higher lexical density consistently requires greater proficiency to comprehend. This explains why students struggle with lecture B. The density demands a level of academic proficiency many students may not yet have. According to Ure, established that lexical density above 50% is characteristic of written registers, while spoken interaction typically falls below this threshold. At 67% density, lecture B standards for exceed comfortable spoken comprehension, while lecture A's 50% remains more manageable due to its simpler structure. Case study 3. The first question is, what is linguistic complexity? Linguistic complexity refers to the degree of structural and grammatical elaboration in a sentence, including synthetic complexity, clause structures, lexical complexity, vocabulary, sophistication, and conceptual complexity, difficulty of ideas. Unlike density, complexity focuses on the structural layers through which meaning is constructed, typically featuring subordinate clause, passive construction, and formal vocabulary. The second question is, which version demonstrates greater complexity? Version B is significantly more complex. Version A, students must submit the form by Friday. 7 words, 1 main clause, simple and direct. Version B, students who have completed the registration process. 26 words, multiple subordinate clause, passive construction are required, and formal noun phrases. Administrative requirements, a specified deadline. The third question is, how can synthetic complexity affect understanding? The answer is, high synthetic complexity forces the readers to hold multiple pieces of information in working memory before reaching the main point, leading to slower processing and potential misinterpretation. In public announcement, where clarity is essential, complex syntax creates unnecessary barriers, especially for first year or international students unfamiliar with bureaucratic register. Number 4 is, when is complex language appropriate? Complex language suits contexts requiring precision and legal clarity, such as contracts, research papers, and police documents, where every qualifier carries a specific meaning. For expert audiences, complexity is manageable. However, in public-facing communication, like announcements and student notice, simpler language is always preferable to ensure accessibility. And the last question is theoretical analysis. Chomsky's transformational generative grammar proposes that sentences involve deep surface structures. Version A has a transparent relationship between both, making it easy to process. Version B involves multiple transformation, relativization, passivization, and nominalization that increase cognitive effort to decode. According to Norris and Ortega, found that sentences with multiple embedded clauses significantly slow comprehension and increase interpretation errors, directly applicable to version B structure in a diverse university context. According to MC Namara, found that synthetic elaboration beyond communicative necessity reduced message effectiveness across all proficiency levels. Version A consistently outperforms version B in context requiring broad public comprehension. Case study 4. The first question is, what is language style? Language style refers to the way language is used in a particular context, shaped by factors such as formality, tone, vocabulary choice, and social relationship between speakers. Style is not fixed. It shifts according to audience, purpose, and setting. In sociolinguistics, style shifting is a natural and strategic communicative behavior that signals social identity, relational stance, and situational awareness. The second question is, how do the two messages differ stylistically? The two messages represent opposite ends of the formality spectrum. Message 1. Hi Prof, what's up? I need your signature as soon as possible. Informal, colloquial, hey, what's up? As soon as possible. Direct and transactional. No greeting, no politeness markers, and no acknowledgement of hierarchy. Message 2. Good morning, Professor. I would like to request your signature. This is the formal, polite, uses full title, softened request, and expresses gratitude. Acknowledges the professor's authority and time. The third question is, why is the second message more appropriate? The second message is appropriate because it aligns with the social context. A student communicating with a person of higher academic authority. It demonstrates awareness of power dynamics, uses appropriate politeness strategies, and respect institutional norms. Message 1. While efficient, violates an expected register of student-professor communication, potentially signaling disrespect or social unawareness, which explain the professor's negative reaction. Question number 4 is, how does style influence interpersonal relationships? Style choices directly shape how speakers are perceived and how relationships develop. Using an appropriate style builds trust, signals respect, and strengthens professional relationships. Conversely, mismatched style, such as using casual language in formal contexts, can damage credibility, create social distance, and lead to negative evaluation of the speaker. In academic and professional settings, stylistic competence is important as linguistic accuracy. And the last question is, theoretical analysis builds audience design theory, argues that speakers adjust their style based on the listener's identity and role. The students shift from message 1 to message 2. It simplifies this. Message 1 fails by treating the professor as a peer, while message 2 correctly calibrates style to the asymmetrical student-professor relationship. According to Holtgraves, shows that context-appropriate politeness leads to more favorable perception of the speaker, directly explaining why the professor responded more positively to message two's formal and considerate tone. According to Biber and Conrad, established that mismatch between style and context produce communicative failure. Message 1 applies informal, peer-level style to a formal hierarchical context, while message 2 successfully matches in the institutional register expected in academic setting. Case study 5. The first question is, what is context in sociolinguistics? Context refers to the social, cultural, and situational factors surrounding communication that shape how meaning is produced and interpreted. It includes a setting, speaker, relationship, cultural background, and shared knowledge. Context is not a mere background, it actively determines meaning. The second question is why can the same expression have different meanings? Sick illustrates semantic shift through slang. Its standard usage, it means ill, but in youth hip-hop culture, it means excellent. Students familiar with the slang interpret it positively. Others rely on a conventional meaning. This happens because a meaning is not fixed in words themselves. It is negotiated through shared contextual knowledge. The third question is what contextual factors influence interpretation? Generational or cultural background familiarity with youth slang determines interpretation. The second is setting. A formal classroom may push listeners toward standard meanings. And the third is speaker identity. Age and social group signal which register is being used. And number four is shared knowledge. Exposure to digital or youth culture provides the right frame. Number five is tone and body language. Non-verbal cues further guide meaning. Number four, how does context affect communication? One speaker and listener share the same contextual frame, meaning transfer accurately. When they don't, ambiguity and misinterpretation arise. Speakers must consider whether their audience share the linguistic and cultural context needed to decode their intended meaning, especially in diverse settings like classroom. Case study 5, the last question is theoretical analysis. According to Delheims, analyze communication through 8 components. The first is setting, participants, and sequence, key, instrumentalities, norms, and genre. In this case, the mixed background participants and differing generational norms directly explain why SIG produce divergent interpretation. According to Cascas in Intercultural Pragmatics, argues that meaning is co-constructed based on cultural knowledge. When listeners come from different generational backgrounds, the same utterance activities entirely different semantic frames, as seen with sick in this case. And the last is according to Puff, Gibbs, and Jensen in Emergent Meaning in Verbal Humor, show that slang requires shared contextual knowledge to be decoded correctly. Without it, listeners default to conventional meaning, explaining the interpretive split observed in the classroom. Case study 6, the first question is what is register? Register is a variety of language used in a particular situation or context, shaped by the relationship between speakers, the purpose of communication, and the setting. It ranges from highly formal, academic, professional, to informal, casual, conversational, and speakers naturally shift between registers depending on the communicative context. And the second question is why does the doctor use different language? The answer is the doctor shift a register to match the audience background and needs. The medical report targets colleges with professional knowledge whose technical terminology is appropriate. When speaking to the family who lack medical training, the doctor switches to plain, accessible language to ensure the message is understood. This is a deliberate and socially competent communicative strategy. The third question is what factors influence register choice? The answer is audience, purpose, setting, relationship, and medium. Audience, expertise level, and familiarity with the topic. Purpose, to inform professionally versus to communicate clearly to a lay person. Setting, clinical or formal documentation versus personal family conversation. Relationship, doctor, college equal versus doctor, family asymmetrical caring. And medium is written report versus spoken conversation. Number 4, how does register affect communication effectiveness? The answer is using the correct register ensures the message reach the audience as intended. The wrong register, such as using medical jargon with the patient family, creates confusion, anxiety, and the communication breakdown. Correct register builds trust, demonstrates empathy, and maximizes clarity. In healthcare, especially register choice can directly impact patient understanding and outcomes. The last question is theoretical analysis. According to Holliday's theory of register, identifies three variables shaping register. The first one is field. What is being discussed? The second one is tenor, relationship between participants, and less is mode, channel of communication. The doctor's two statements share the same field, high blood pressure, but differ in tenor, professional versus familial, and mode, written versus spoken, producing two distinct registers. According to Ferguson, argues that register shifting is a marker of communicative competence, the ability to adapt language to situational demands. The doctors shift from clinical to plain language demonstrate this competence, ensuring effective communication across two very different audiences. And the last is according to Bieber and Conrad, show that register mismatch using language inappropriate to the context consistently reduce communication effectiveness. Had the doctor used medical jargon with the family, it would present a register mismatch with real consequences for comprehension and patient care. The last case study is case study 7. The first question is, what are linguistic and social stereotypes? The answer is, stereotypes are oversimplified generalization about a social group applied uniformly to all members. Linguistic stereotypes involve assumption about how groups speak, while social stereotypes generalize group traits and roles. Both reduce individuals to group characteristics, ignoring personal variation and reinforcing inequality. The second question is, how can stereotypes be reflected through language? The answer is, the manager's statement uses absolutist language, naturally better, that frames cultural assumption as biological facts. Presenting gender traits is innate, normalizes, and legitimizes stereotypical thinking. Repeated in authoritative contexts, such statements embed these beliefs into workplace culture and make them harder to challenge. The third question is consequences of stereotypes in professional environments. The answer is, women unfairly limited from leadership roles regardless of ability. And the second one is men pressure to conform to dominant behavior, communication skills dismissed. And the last is workplace bias, hiring, promotion, reduced diversity, and a culture of judgment by gender over merit, ultimately creating self-fulfilling prophecies. Question number 4 is, how can language reduce stereotypes? Replace absolutist generalization with inclusive, ability-focused language. Avoid terms like literally or always. Use specific evidence-based statements about individuals rather than groups. Promote counter stereotypical narratives and encourage workplace awareness of how language shapes perception. And this is the last question, is theoretical analysis. According to Tajfel and Turner's social identity theory, argues that language construct and maintain social group divisions. The manager's statement reinforces gender based in-group or out-group categories, assigning fixed traits to each, deepening division rather than recognizing individual ability. According to Mas et al., in language used in intergroup contexts, introduced linguistic intergroup bias describing group traits abstractly makes them appear permanent. The manager's framing of female communication and male leadership as neutral linguistically cements this as fake group characteristic. According to Koenig and Igley, in Evidence for the Social Role Theory of Stereotypes Contents, found that language framing leadership as masculine directly disadvantages women in hiring and promotion, showing the manager's word carry real professional and consequences beyond more opinion. That's all for me. Thank you for your attention. I hope I will get a best score. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a good day.